Hey guys, Stephen, Chirpy, Warren. G'day, Mark. Joseph, g'day. Sean Creasy, hello. Craig, g'day. Thanks for the email today. Tommy, g'day. Chirpy's videos are good. We are waiting for more from Craig. Thanks, Joseph. Peter Noddle, g'day. So here we are. Wednesday night again. That went quick. There's one who's at home doing crap. I'm not. I'm back at work today. I'm kind of moderately secure and safe, so I'm good. We'll see how we go with that, see how much longer it lasts, but at the moment the hours are good. Hope you, Kevin, g'day. Got your email the other week. Don't know if I replied to it. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for letting me know it arrived. Helicopter out there somewhere. Sounds like. Checking to make sure everyone's inside and at home. Machine guns hanging out, all that sort of stuff. You'll hear the machine guns rattle in a minute. That's Australia for you. Socialism, guys. Fight against it. Actually, I just made that up. It'll be, I imagine it's probably either a sea rescue helicopter here or it'll be one of the news helicopters. Let's shut you all up. Anyway. Hey, this is on. How cool is that? There's still a few little design problems I've got to sort out. There's quite a list of jobs. I'll show you the list in a minute. I'm really pleased with it so far. I'm going to start the lathe. Hope you can all hear me still. This has got 3 positions here, and I haven't got a detent for here yet. It's in the post, and it's probably going to be here in the morning, I hope. And then I've got Friday off, so I might install this so that this can stay on here for a bit longer while we try bits. Hey, Raymond. Because at the moment it wants to kick into gear either way. And the weight of this and the weight of the gears, rather than being on the detent, being on the gears, tends to give us a bit of jerkiness. Hey, Rustnux, good to see ya. Hey, Paddy. So, if we hold this in the right spot, it's whisper quiet. I don't know if that translates through. If we get our depth in just not quite right, it gets noisy. So if we get that set up and adjusted, we should be fine. And over in the other position, that's running backwards nicely. If we don't get our depth right, we get a rattle. But at that point, I'm really, really pleased with that. I hope that works out for you, Paddy. G'day, Richard. Why doesn't it make crunching sounds? It wasn't meant to make crunching sounds. It's all bronze bushes and roller bearings and crap. Plastic gears help too. If you want to make something that's quiet, put plastic gears in it. But in the middle position, it shouldn't make any noise at all because it's not running. So if you let that go now, it just collects over and back. Hey Lisa, good to see ya. I think everything's pretty good here. I can't wait to get this detent in here. I've actually bought a proper modern plastic German-made flash detent to go in here, and that should make a huge difference to the way it locates and everything. I made one for the dividing head and I've never been particularly happy with it, so I bought 2 detents. They're on their way, and when they come I might put one on the dividing head too, I think, but we'll see how we go. This part here is all new, so I'm going to pull this off, which is really simple. We might have a look at it over in the bench. So we just drop this handle down here, slides off the end. How cool is that, huh? How cool is that? That particular thing is just a little bit of overkill. G'day Dennis. Rustnox, there's a parcel in the post somewhere. It was posted. Look, it was fairly late. Rustnox, I have posted it. I posted a heap of parcels. Gosh, nearly a fortnight ago, and yours was one of them. There is a parcel coming. It's not just a sticker. I did send a parcel, so it's quite a large envelope when it arrives. I hope it's there soon. Let me know the minute you get it, because it has been posted this time. Now I need to spend some time Hey Alistair. I could make a threaded fixed tumbler, and I do need to, because I need to make a drill bush to locate the center of it, to drill for the pin for the detent. So I might have to do that, but it is an odd thread and I don't think I've got a die either, so, and at this point I haven't got thread cutting attachment. Let's move past all this junk, and it is junk. Hotshot 360 oven there under that junk. It has been a little bit deceiving. Has been used in the last 48 hours, but I've packed stuff back up on top of it so we can get the cone of cleanliness for the video. I need to spend some time on this gantry here at some point. G'day, Abe. Good to see you. I don't know, I'm waiting for inserts from China, but that's another story. And they haven't arrived, and they've been coming a lot longer than that, so it shouldn't be far away. You might have it by the end of the week, Rustnox, I hope. I really would like to see that. Got to fix this gantry. We've got some, this is all 3D printed and it hasn't lasted, so some aluminium parts would be good. At the moment it's pretty rocky. It's getting worse gradually. So new bits, this is it. Quite a job. these are only finger tight, and that's all they need to be. I'm really pleased with this design. I'm kind of wishing that I'd put thumb wheels on this rather than nuts. These have T-nuts on here so they don't turn when you do them up, and this one has T-nut on there so it doesn't spin, and they pinch by about 1 millimeter there, something like that. So this is a really good system. I wish I'd put hand nuts on these. And this all runs on a bronze bush. And these done up. There's a lot of work in these nuts, Craig. I'm not sure I want to make some more, but we'll see how we go with that. Might happen one day. A couple of nice 25mm thumb wheels would have been really good for it. Probably, Craig, I've got a dividing head so I can cut all these. The plastic ones will be all right for a bit, but I can either cut them or I can buy them and trim them down. I haven't decided which one yet. So this one here, this is too long, this thread. I'm going to shorten this up. I think it's a pain in the... So this one runs the same speed as the spindle, and then the gears are from there through here. I don't like this bolt much. That's the banjo. I'm really quite pleased with that. This is going to get a proper lever bolt, I think. I was thinking I might buy one, but they're all too big in the body and a bit ugly. You can buy a plastic one, and if I'd made plastic ones for all the others, I probably should have done that. But I'm probably going to make a bolt and then machine a washer so it locks in the right spot. I think that's the idea. So, hey Ted. You're probably right. You're probably right, Stephen, but I think that it's going to be fine. Hey Fridge. G'day Scott. So that's one project to do. This here, if we have a look, has a bush in here with a bronze bush in it. This is recessed so that this piece, which is going to look something like this, I think, if you have a look, with a key in it, sticking out here, sits down inside there and doesn't collect too much dirt and dust ingress. That's the theory there. And it goes through here, and I'm just going to put a shaft collar on here, a good one, and a grub screw or a side screw to do it up, and that'll do to lock the sideways end. The end ways, I guess end shake you'd call it. There's still things to do here to connect it to the universal. Still got to think about that. This is in here just with a grub screw in the bottom, 8mm grub screw, which I think is going to be good enough. And I need to make this lubricatable because it's not. I need to make it so I can oil it because it's a bronze bush. So I don't know whether I put, just looking at it, it might be best to drill this and put like a nice 6mm oil nipple in the top here and put a groove through the bush to lubricate it. That might be the nice way to do it. I'm not even sure it needs a groove. I'm sure the oil gun will push it side to side in my sort of fits. the sort of fits that I make. So that's probably going to be the easy way to do it. You just oil that rather than put oil hole here and locate this positively. I'm probably going to just drill this and put oil nipple in the side, and that way it's easy and easy to fix. Yeah, the helicopter's back. If anyone's PTSD kicks in, yeah, sorry. This hasn't cleaned up particularly well on the back, probably because it's been sitting around in a puddle somewhere. I might have a bit more of a go at it and see if I can clean this up. I could send it to get ground. I've got someone who offered to do that, but it doesn't need to be that good on that side. This side has cleaned up pretty good. Hey JB, miss all the good bits. So that's where we're at with this. It's the state of play. Now, there's a lot of bits in it and it's coming together pretty good, and we've got like the Battle of Britain. Yeah, they're out looking for someone, I think. It's either a police helicopter or it's a search and rescue helicopter, I reckon. They're fairly low and they've been going backwards and forwards for a little while. So I've got drive right to this shaft, which is the PTO shaft to the, it sounds like a tractor, Craig says, but the PTO shaft through to the compound. And making this shaft's fairly simple when I've got some carbide to cut it out of some decent shaft. That's going to have a piece sticking out it that looks something like this, only in steel, with a nut on the top, like so. And that should clamp those two down on there and drive from the banjo right through. So that's the theory. Why are you joint not using a CV type? Because that's what I could find. Really good question. If you can find me some nice 10mm shaft CV type joints, that'd be awesome, but I haven't managed to find any yet. I'm not 100% happy with this. I think it'll be all right for a bit, but at some point I'm probably going to upgrade it, I think, if I possibly can. I do, Chirpy, and we've been using it, but it hasn't got chip breakers and stuff. I don't think anything's going to bind. It's a pretty straight line through there. I think it's going to drive just fine. It's got, at the maximum, it's got about that much bend in it. 89 Magna, eh? Awesome. The only one, the last one I saw was at the Motor Museum in South Australia. What an incredible car. There's a reason there's not many of them around. Anyway, they weren't perfect from the factory, Craig, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't need to be phased. It's not far out there now. I don't think it's going to be too bad. If it's a problem, I'll move one of them. But at this point, I think it's going to be okay. Terrible car, sorry. gosh. From the man, yeah, probably. Anyway, so what bits have I still got to do? There's a fair bit, actually. Because yesterday I sat down and wrote a list. No one likes Mitsubishi Magnas. Mitsubishi Magna was Australia's first Mitsubishi car after Chrysler got out. I guess that's probably someone else will know the history better than me. Probably Craig, but was pretty terrible sedan. Either love them or hate them, and obviously Craig loves them, and we won't judge him for that much. Anyway. Upgrade of the Sigma, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if it was even that good. The Sigma had high and low range, so it was really only a farm tractor anyway. I've got to make a shaft for the PTO, which goes through this hole here. I've still got to make some spacer washers because when I put these on and start using them, I discovered that they're a lot thinner on one side than the other. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really not particularly good. You can see that, I reckon. So I'm going to make them and harden them up and get a friend to grind them flat. So that's where I'm at. I've got to organise this to tent location here. So basically I've got to make a bush and center punch these and drill them, or make a drill guide, I think. A bush with a hole so that I can drill them through this rod and get it somewhere near in the right direction. I think that's the way to do it, in the right spots. I've got to put an oil hole in here, and I've got to make a key to go in the end of the bush. What else? I've got to fix the spindle gear because I had to move it because this is a different thickness than what the original drawing was when I started. So I've got to put a spacer or a scotch key or something in that. I've got to make a lock handle for here. So this cap screw's a bit of a pain there because it's just going to fill up the swarf and you're going to have to be digging it out with a magnet and a scriber every single time you want to use it. I don't like them much anyway. It doesn't look good on this machine, so I'm probably going to put a handle on that. Going to make the rest of these gears, and I've got to finish this off and blue the body. It probably will be, but I want to measure the tumbler before I do that because I really want to get it the right size. Not out of a Magna. Poor guys. Oh, Craig, I'm sorry. These are probably RC car parts. I just bought them off eBay. I found a German supplier who sells this whole unit that looks pretty nice, and I might just buy this complete. It's got keyways and everything in it, and it really looks good, and it's got roller bearings or needle rollers in here. And a proper splined sliding shaft. So if this doesn't work, that's what I'm going to do. So I've also got to make some, I've got to fix the compound. Now, we're going back over the lathe. Sorry, guys. If we can do it without derailing this stupid thing. I come home tonight and cleaned up. Sort of. Wasn't a particularly huge effort, but I did sort of sweep the lathe down. Now, you've probably all seen this and you know how it all pops together. I want to make this so that you take this screw out and put a plain plug in here on the end of the shaft to support it, to keep the dust out, basically. And it probably doesn't need to be anything special because there's no actual loading on that as such when it's just got a pin in it, because the loading's all between, I think the loading's probably between this end, which has needle rollers in it, or thrust bearings, angular contact ball bearings, I think, and this nut. So I'm going to make a bush in there so that I can get a bit closer to the chuck when I don't have it. Now, someone shared with me, which is awesome, some pictures of a genuine launch one, which has a gear drive in here, which brings this shaft back out this side and gives me enough clearance to run my 4-jaw chuck around it. You do, however, lose 3/4 of an inch or something on the end here, which I don't like very much. You lose more than that because this will only come up to there, whereas this at the moment will come 1/4 of an inch past. So I don't like that much. But if it happens, we might need to make something on here eventually with the drive out further here. Also want to put, now, because of the way this works, it's got a dog clutch here. I haven't really had much to do except think about this for a while. But when you pop this out, it's got 2 grooves in that pin, see? And this one's got a spring detent ball. So when that's in, that's not going to move anywhere. And when we turn it all turns like that. When this pops off like that, this freewheels. Is everybody happy, as Mr. Pete says? Does that make sense? So that's how that works. Now, it's a very simple job to put some sort of a lever on this side on here. If anyone can actually see that, I'm going to try and move this carefully. There. Try and put some sort of an adjustable micrometer rod that goes on here, a square rod with a nut on it or something. I'm not sure yet. To kick this off when it gets to the end of the stroke and kick the power feed out if you need it. So Craig, I'm sorry. I feel bad now. So is it ball and socket? It's got a spring and a ball in there, like a proper screw in detent. It's all one piece. So when that pops out, this works without it. So it theoretically means that all this can stay in place all the time if it needs to. Now, yeah. One of the big hacks from Magna, I remember now, was that you went out with a sort of an 1/8 drill and a battery drill before the days of battery drills, and put a hole in each headlight so that the water flow drained out. That was the interesting little feature that they had, is that they filled up with water, I think. Anyway. So that's the idea, is that this is going to pop out, hopefully, and not fall off the end and work. However, if we want to take this off, say we want to use the 4-jaw chuck, or we've got a big job that we want to swing that we want to get in close to the chuck with, we're going to take this out, which is a matter of removing this pin, and then there's a screw down into the end and a cross pin on the lead screw. So we need to be able to take that out, and I'm going to make another piece to go in there with a screw on the end of it. It's just to blank that off to keep the dirt out of it, and that'll give us a fair bit more difference. So for that end, that's cool. Now for this end, right, this goes up here on the shaft. Morris Minor, hey? Golden age of cardboard interior and clip-on tail light lenses. It's crazy because the roof always leaked and the glove box always sagged. But the lights didn't fill up with water because they would just clip on and they rattled. Anyway, my first car was an Austin 1800 Ute, so I know a little bit about that. But it's a long time ago. It's put me off cars forever. Anyway, on this end, we could just have the shaft sticking out with the collar on it, which is the same diameter as that, and do up the 2 grub screws. But it's not a very positive lock. At all, really. Not a big fan of it, because this can slip and you're going to get it out of sync when you're cutting threads and all that sort of stuff. So I don't like it. So we could make an adapter with a keyway. Hey, Poppy. Joseph Lucas, Prince of Darkness. And then they got a bit later on and they put the plug hole of despair on the back of them. That was a bit interesting too. It did, sorry. Anyway, I'm just getting started here. I need some way of making this positive, and also so that you can back a pin out or something like that. Maybe that's the answer, is just put a pin a little bit deeper that locates nice and positive, so that you can pull this off and put it back in the box. G'day, making sense. Good to see you. So yeah, I want to take this off, but I want to put this back on in the same spot every time, and I don't want to be messing around with these 2 little 3-4 mil grub screws to locate it up and to chowder up the end of the shaft when I do take it off, and when I don't quite put it on in the right position again. So I need to make some sort of an adapter on this end to go fridge. Check out Hubnut while you've got some time off work and you're flat on your back with nothing to do. Hubnut.org or Hubnut on YouTube. He just did a test drive of the Leyland Marina 2626, which was the 6-cylinder variation. Interesting car, but still a Marina. Stephen. No, it's not a car chat. Sorry, Russ Knox. We're getting sidetracked, but everyone needs to be sidetracked this week. So now, the pin could have a threaded head on it and just drill straight through, so that you screw the pin you push the pin in and then screw it in tight. That's probably going to work nicely, actually. Single D shaft, like on a steering shaft. Raymond, I would like some more information on that. Can you use one of those brackets at the built-in barring assembly and then have a shaft off that? I could, yes. The trouble is with that is that my luck dog clutches are only going to work one way, so I'm always going to get it the wrong way around. That's a fair point though. That's something to think about. That might actually work. That's something I hadn't thought about. No, an Opal will be from Germany, I reckon, Warren. So that's what that's a fair point. I don't want to lose too much headspace here because I'm going to have to shorten this up anyway because at this point it's just a fraction long. I've already taken probably ½ inch or an inch off it since I started putting it back together. But it could easily be, we could shorten the tube up a bit and we've got to take a little bit more off here. And I want to put probably one of those spring detent balls in there that Stephen Lang got me so that you can click this together and take it apart, but it doesn't fall apart when you flip one end off and it lands on the dirt. That's the problem. Rust and Ox, that's the correct and intelligent answer. It's a blue one. Good colour. Any more knowledge than that's dangerous. And will probably get you a hard time here. So, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, this square drive. At this point, it was the easiest and quickest way to make this. And it works. And hopefully it won't be too rattly. The reason I haven't, what do you call it, synchronized or phased these or whatever yet is because I believe that this is going to be shortened. So one of these is going to come off and be re-drilled back probably an inch, because at this point I'd like to get this a little bit closer to the spindle, because if we're running collets, our work's back up here rather than out here, if that makes any sense at all, because when we put this 3-door chuck on, we're way out there, which is why you need an extension. But when it's in close, you want this tool right up here against the spindle, because that's where the end of the collet is. So to my mind, it still wants an inch off here. Fridge is right, a spline would be better, and I'm going to, when this wears out, we'll see. Now, Craig, this in and out of sync phasing thing, I really don't know about that. I don't know very much about it. Sorry. Everyone seems to tell me something a little bit differently. These aren't quite lined up, so I don't think it's going to go whoop, 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 whoop. But I don't really understand. I think that they've got to be half a turn out. If these are lined up, this one here and the other end's lined up, and these are lined up, then what you're going to find is that you're going to get some of this, I think. Anyway, there we go. So this, I'm thinking I'm going to put probably a bar with a thread on it and a flat side with some measurements on it, and probably a calibrated nut that I can spin. on here to move this piece in and out so that this pops off in the right position. That's the theory. Max had a really good idea about having a lever system so that this pops this out quicker than this runs along, so it doesn't wear the teeth on the end. But I'm not sure it's going to be particularly much of a problem. We'll see. The genuine launch one had a gearbox on there, so this was all in here with 3 gears, so it ran the same direction with an idler in the middle. And this was out here like this, which is really nice, and I like that. But I'm not sure we're going to get that luxury. It's not running particularly fast either, fridge, I think. I'm going to leave this in gear for gear cutting, Chirpy. I don't think this is going to be used for that, but for feed on things like Morse tapers and things where you always get a ridge when you get sick of winding, it's going to be very, very nice to have a pop out at the end so that when you get to the end it cuts out. That's the main reason for this, so it's probably not all that important. Basically, probably what you're going to do is set it up in the right spot and then just adjust it so it just kicks out when it's at the end. But we'll see. So there's still a crap load of jobs to do, like there really is. It's nowhere near the end of the tunnel yet, unfortunately. Try not to knock this off here. Sorry about the mess. It's been a pretty productive weekend. I've made a few of these bits this weekend. Yeah. The other thing that I want to think about now, this is kind of a bit of a death trap, to be honest. If we put this on here, and do that up, what, quarter of a turn or whatever it needs, right? And put this back on here. With the biggest gear we've got. And then this nut on here, like such. That's nice and secure there like that. We've got these gears sticking out here in the way. Now, you've got to put your hand around this way to get your finger caught in between them. But if you did, I imagine it may not end well. That's where I'm at with it. I'd like to make some sort of a guard system for this. That's the theory. Now, whether I put 2 pins in here and a guard that sits over the top with a cover on it that basically goes over the top with a nut on it, I don't like that very much because they always come loose. Take care, Scott. I will have a look at that, Craig. Poppy, that's a good idea. I thought about it, but I had one for a snap-on socket, and I thought about that. But it's got to slide in and out, and they tend to come unwound a bit. Tom says, make the guard hinged. Where do I hinge it from? That's where we're at with this. There's not a lot of places to if we sit this up this way, it's a crazy contraption. Is this better without the light? Sorry about that, guys. It probably is. This goes on here like this, and I haven't tightened this up very snug, so it's not going to sit there, of course. We've got an oil port here, so we need to get to that to oil it. We need to get to this lever, which I'd like to lock up here in the upright position so that it's not in the way of anything, or across here on a bit of an angle. That's probably an option. Probably the best option is to put a decent big screw threaded pin in here somewhere, with a clevis on it, and make the guard hinged off the back here so that it locks over the front. And if we made it lock over the front, we could put another pin on here with even just a clevis in it to lock it. That might work. So we could hinge it on this side. I can make a decent, like, solid hinge that sits there without making it look too ugly, and then make a decent cover that goes over here and round the end. But it's not really the answer. I like something to stop swarf going in the top of it. It's not that that's ever going to happen, but interesting. So I'm still messing with that, but we'll get the rest going and then see what room we've got. But I think we could hinge it off the back here, have a guard out of decent piece of thick aluminium that comes along and slides down the end, and probably put a nice TIG welded cutout or something to match this, so it's got a bit of shape to it. And not that I've got a TIG welder, but I'd find someone who does if I made the bits, and lock it on a pin in either a pin in the center here, or yeah, no idea, but it's got to come up past these nuts if we do that, because this nut here can be moved from there to there, sort of. That's the idea of it anyway. So if we want to put this big gear on here and a bigger gear on here, which will only happen if they're the last two idler gears that we actually have, which is unusual, it's going to be more likely up in there most of its life, I would say, between there and there. And if we make it nice and neat to cover this bolt's easy, but to cover this one's not so easy. We put a slot in it, but it's a lot of messing around. Anyway, thanks, Craig. Silver soldered the pin in or thread and Loctited it in. Yeah, probably to cover the lot, but it's going to look ugly. The good thing about making a cover that comes across here is I've got room to put a thread chart down the end, a nice edge brass thread chart if we wanted to do that. So that's one good thing about that. That would probably be quite nice. The original Chauvelin one had this banjo extended out here to that distance. And an extension up here, and then it had a hinge on this side, and so everything hinged back inside there, and locked on the banjo. So the whole cover hinged off the banjo, and that's really nice. However, the geometry of where to get all this was a little bit tricky. So we didn't get that on this itineration. So, this iteration, there you go, if you're going to mess around with my English. Unless I'm not a Magna owner. Anyway, there are things you could do with this to make it look nice, and it needs to be in keeping with the lathe. So it's probably going to be like a nice piece of aluminium with TIG weld all polished up and a coat of green paint on it, if we're going to do it. But we're going to mess around with some cardboard. That's exactly right. Or some MDF when we get. I've owned cars that are very, very, very close family resemblance to a Marina fridge, so I'm not going to go there. But it was a long time ago. I don't want to take away from the looks of it. I want it to look good on it. I would like to have enough room on this side of the cover to put a gear chart, which would be really nice, or on the back. If I was going to make it like that, I would probably get some launch letters laser cut and stuck on the back of them, and then clean the welds up and give it a paint and polish the top of the launch off. Anyway, take care, Richard. Good to see you. So they're all things to think about. I want it to look nice. The 3-4 basic models of launch change wheels like this, attachments never had any protection at all on the gears, and you just had to be a little bit smart, which is awesome. And I'm probably up for that. But you've only got to drop a rag or something, or get some hair caught in here or something, and you're in trouble. So it needs something. It's a bit dangerous. So the main thing is to get this looking nice. But we'll get all this going. We'll cut some threads with it, and then we'll see exactly what it needs, how much travel we need, all that sort of stuff. And maybe... Thanks, Craig. Yeah, they're both excellent suggestions and observations. That might be what we're doing. Anyway, that's my weekend. I'm still a bit buzzed about this, and I'm sorry it's all been thread cut and attachment. And I really appreciate your input on some of these ideas. I'm taking some of them on board. Yeah, okay. So, what's everyone else up to? You've all got time on your hands. What are you making? Chirpy, how's the projects going? Stephen, how's the new ring roller? Craig, did you get the DRO fixed? Fridge is out of commission. Joseph, did you start a steam engine yet? That's okay, we're wasting a lot of time here. Dennis is still working. Fridge had an accident. Craig is slacking. Making Sense is going to finally start restoring old Logan Lathe. That's awesome. Keep us updated, because we are going to ask you about it. Aid's making some pretty cool attachments for his milling machine, which is half the fun. I think you could have a channel dedicated to hold downs and not make the same project twice and still not have enough at the end of 5 years. There you go. There's someone wants a YouTube channel idea. There it is, free. Alistair is making wood boxes for tools. That's awesome. Chirpy's got lots of work coming in. That's good. I saw Lisa's Gauge 1 printed wagon chassis. I hope that works out okay. Rustanox is still working. I'm still working too. JB might be on reduced hours. That won't hurt anyone as long as you can financially deal with it. I've got leave and I'm going to take some of that. Raymond's going to get busy. Tommy's making camera welding shields. That sounds fun. Stephen's got a new camera coming. That's exciting. Did you buy the GoPro, Stephen? Ted's fitting the DRO too. Ted, you're not escaping. How's the DRO going? Warren's making money again still. Mark's made a Lucy Susan type to rotate 2 grinders on the bench. That sounds fun. Yeah, I'm still waiting for one of mine too, only because I haven't bought it. That's where I'm at. I did buy a parcel. I have a parcel coming from Germany. I bought a launch accessory, which I probably shouldn't have, about 3 weeks or so ago, and someone, a good friend, offered to collect it and to post it on. So it's in the mail. So maybe even next week, I don't know, maybe not, but next week we might have a parcel to open, which is pretty cool. Absolutely interested to see the setup, Tommy. And Ted's still fixing a Bobcat. Well, it's good you keep him busy. Most of you. I don't think Fridge is keeping busy. I think he's got one foot up and he's on the couch because someone fell off a steam engine last week or this week and ended up in emergency with a torn ligament. So thinking of your Fridge. Broken. A camera slide is awesome. Don't 3D print the parts. I've got to pull this apart and make all the 3D printed parts out of aluminium or steel. It's gonna happen. 3D print didn't last. I'm going to give you a look at that. This is why we've got a rocky camera, and I apologise for it. So we've got basically a bike GoPro mount on a tube and a rod and a 3D printed camera phone mount. On my Thingiverse, if anyone wants it, this is the best part of the whole setup. And we've got aluminium tube up here, and we've got this crappy ball mount, which is only held in place here by one grub screw here. So this moves backwards and forwards, but the 3D print here that holds it in place cracked. I don't know if you can see that. Let's try and focus it. Yeah, there we go. That's cracked, so that needs replacing. This comes unscrewed anyway. So this whole piece needs replacing and screwing in the end of a tube with an adapter, a decent adapter, and that would fix most of the problem here. That's where the camera issue is. Now, these 3D printed wheels that run across this rail, got a lot of crap up here. This is storage area. Sorry, this is a scroll saw, Pelican boxes, all sorts of stuff up here. Anyway, this wheel here has hit a rock or something and it's had the piece broken out of the side of it. These are no longer a press fit on the bearings. So I'm going to have to make these wheels out of something decent or reprint them. And this just has a spring-loaded arm in here to follow along the bottom one there. But that's no longer working on the bearings either. So at some point that needs fixing as well. This bracket on the front, the 3D printer, is probably pretty solid. And the light bracket's up there too. And of course we've got builder's plates on there because we can. So this is just a sheet of aluminium folded up to go over this piece of 80/20 rail. And this is the problem. When I fix all this here, which is a bit of an issue here, needs some work as well. So there's probably a day's work making up bits for it and we'd be back in business. I need to do that at some point very soon. Thanks, John. It's only a matter, I've got a piece of aluminium sitting there on the shelf. It's only a matter of turning them up and fitting the bearings and making it all work. Now this is off here. We've probably got problems getting it back on. Crap. Prince Charles has a virus, John says. Is that the name of your dog or is it actual Prince Charles? Looks like Harry got out just in time. That's all I'm saying. Anything's better than PLA, Craig. And I make sure to wear your helmet. Yeah. I'm going to line it with tin foil just to make sure. Aluminium foil, I think, is the answer. Sorry to make you sick. We're back in business again, but that's why we can't bump anything, is because the whole camera gantry, which runs from one end to the other and it's really quite good, was made originally with 3D printed parts to see how they would stand up. And to be honest, they haven't. So there you go. So I've got enough 40mm aluminium to make all the bits, and I bought that a while ago to do it. So at some point we will. That's where we're at with that. It was also supposed to have a USB mount on here too, or a USB. The rail is aluminium 80/20 robot rail, so it's proper, decent extrusion for this, which is great. It's really good. It's got a wire on top with a cable tray that swings along from one end to the other. So it's actually powered. This light, which is handy for some things, is actually off the gantry as well. And it's also got a USB charger, which isn't at the moment hooked up because there's some problems with it. But that needs fixing as well. So theoretically, I should be able to charge my phone from the gantry and still move it backwards and forwards on my camera. So the rail is really strong and solid. The gantry was really quite good, but it's the 3D printed parts that are failing it. So mostly where it hooks onto this like swivel ball head that isn't really designed to hang upside down, I guess. Anyway, that's the state of play with my camera camera gantry, and that's why if we bump it, it does this, and I really apologise for that, but we probably just need to fix it. Delrin might work too. I might have a bit of 40mm Delrin as well. That's probably not a bad idea. It might be a bit quieter. We'll see. But skateboard wheels machined down is probably good too. Same bearings in them. Anyway, I had theory ideas of, I put a gear on one of them and I was going to have it, the stepper motor for pan shots and things like that. Not something I think I'll ever use, so I'm probably not going to continue with that. We'll see. Anyway, Melbourne meetup for all you Australian guys. No real updates here. I'm guessing that they're going to cancel the exhibition. I'm also guessing that they're not going to do it for another 2 months. And I'm also guessing that if they don't cancel it, they'll put it back a month or 2 months when they know what's happening, or if things start looking a little bit better by about June or July. So at this point, I'm going to be not that proactive about actually organising anything. And we'll see what happens in a month or so. That's where I'm at. But yeah, play it by ear. That's all right. It's I'm not going to make a video about it, especially because you get all sorts of crazy comments. Poor Stan put up a video about Summer Bash and got comments about the Great Democratic Hoax and all that sort of stuff. Stan's kind of big and Polish enough to tell you that you need to man up, but there's some strange people out there, and we might just pay it by ear and stay inside. And that is exactly right. By the time we've all used up our holiday pay and paid through the neck for food and etc., 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 and looked after kids while they're on holidays and all that sort of stuff, we're all going to be broke by then. Stan kind of asked for it. He probably did, but yeah, he can stick up for himself. So that's where we're at. Someone's dropped the aeroplane upside down. Sorry about that. We'll put that there. If it gets moved to August or September, yes. Late September would make Good of the Land Fest achievable too, and I might reconsider. But I don't think that I'm going to have enough holiday pay or cash sitting around to do that when that happens, and I don't think any of us will. Craig, Codanger video. There's bits here everywhere. I've spent a few hours this last weekend, probably in my downtime, probably about 3 or 4 hours messing around with it. I'm having trouble with the belt drive from the Clockwork motor. And some of the scenics. Also the hook mechanism. I'm having trouble with the hook mechanism. But there we go. There's your information there. You ask a silly question, you get told a stupid answer. So sorry guys, but that's all you're getting about my coat hanger until it's released. Yeah, don't ask stupid questions. Did I let a secret slip? Not yet, no. No, you don't know anything. As far as I know, there's some interesting stuff, but you can make whatever deductions or assumptions as you like, you know, but I'm not going to show anyone until it's done. See you, Warren. Take care. Good to see you. Very, very, very unlikely to be involved with tinfoil hats, but I might have to make some of those prepper videos if this gets any worse. That's always an option. I expect to see full prepper videos from all you guys as well. There's not enough how to make tinfoil hat videos on YouTube, really. That's where I'm at with that. Talking about misdirection. Yeah, 3M's supposed to be the best one, Craig. There's studies done on it. People who wear... The statistic is that people who wear the proper 3M tinfoil in their hats report next to no abductions. So that's, you can make of that what you are or what you like, but apparently testimonials say that 3M tinfoil is the way to go because you don't get abducted. Interesting statistic. John started prepping and growing carrots. As good carrots will grow anywhere, and they're pretty nice to have. And they're happy sort of vegetables. They're not like Brussels sprouts, which are miserable and unhappy, or tomatoes that sort of only lead to disappointment in Queensland. But carrots are happy little things with nice fronds, and they're easy to dig and all that stuff. You can see whether they're growing or not. Chirpy's right. I'm sort of thinking I start a garden again. I used to have a garden here on the back porch and grow stuff, but if it comes to that, we might do it. But we're coming in for winter now, so probably things will grow all right. Processing olives, JB. As in making olive oil, or as in stuffing them and put them in pickle, or as in what you do with olives? And they're green olives or black olives? Too many questions. Queensland winter, good time for tomatoes. Never ever had any luck with Queensland tomatoes, but anyway. Salting them for eating. Excellent, JB. So, yeah, prepping videos are kind of cool. And I sort of watch until the point that you start invading supermarkets with machine guns and hoarding thousands of rounds of ammo just in case of zombies and shooting down helicopters on film and that sort of thing. That gets a bit much, but until that point, they're kind of cool. Awesome, JB. Just stuff that can be dried or frozen is a really good option. Veggies, if you can steam them and freeze them, or even just freeze them, depending on the veggie, that's probably a really good thing to have. So that's pretty cool. This is turning out to be a really long video, and I apologize for that. Everyone's sort of following along and having fun. We have given Craig a pretty hard time, and I do apologise for that. Rust Knox is living from day to day. That's fair point. That's about where I'm at. The shops at work are shutting. Like every day, there's people saying goodbye. They're not coming back. And friends I've had for 10 years, are moving on. So that's a bit sad. But big block shopping centres, and I've said this for some time, that big block shopping centres are kind of a thing of the past. I don't think they'll ever come back in the way that Westfield and Stocklands and all those have in the past. Hey, Dale, the man of the hour, with a milling machine video I haven't seen yet. G'day, talking about crazy preppers with tinfoil hats. There's Dale Derry himself. So I really don't think that shopping centres are going to come back the way that they were 5 years ago. Things are closing, but someone's going to be screaming for tenants, so rent's going to drop. But I think in the meantime, they're going to change. So the whole shopping experience as we know it, going to the shops and getting all these chain shops that look the same and are really we could do anywhere, really that model needs to change. So I'm sure it probably will. You should be able to clean out a lot of zombies in that, Dennis. They tell me that if you can find an old treadmill beside the road, that'll save all your ammo, and you just put it by the front yard and put it in free wheel gear just by the front door. And when they get to that, they rather than come inside, they just keep walking. So that's supposed to be a good answer to that problem. Sorry, Dennis. There'll be more shopping from home, but people want a boutique. I mean, the coffee shop industry has sort of proven this. People, when they go out, they want a shopping experience. People want a shopping experience, and they go and have coffee, and coffee shops are sort of the ones, unfortunately, the first to go, but they're also the ones that were making money up until last week. So I think shopping centres will have to turn into this boutique, artsy, hand-painted sign style shopping experience again that we've sort of been missing and has been banned from big block shopping centres for the last 10 years. So that's where I'm at with that. And I think from that point of view, we probably, when shopping comes back after all this, it's going to be changed. And that's probably an awesome thing, to be honest. Who doesn't like a bit of dry herb, Joseph? It's excellent, really. The trouble is, here in Australia, is that most of it in Queensland comes, dry herb, if we're talking about that, comes from New South Wales. So there's a closed border, and that's driven the price up, apparently. So we're kind of stuck with the dry herb thing. You've got to grow your own. Anyway, that's the state of the nation and the state of the world fixed in about 5 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. Ted's in the market to sell you guns and ammo. He's the man to see if you want to arm up. But I'm fairly confident here in Australia we will get by and things will sort themselves out. Say what you like about our current government, and I'm not going to get political on this, but they have made some reasonably good decisions with this, I think. Um, um, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think stuff is going to happen. Yeah, I think we may have the wrong sort of herbs we're talking about there, but Aldi may sell them in some parts. They don't here. It might be different in Ipswich. I'm just saying that there's people in Ipswich that probably have a different sort of, it's different market. I've already had the soapbox turn. I'm sorry about that. We're an hour and 20, which is the longest live stream we've ever done, I think. How's everyone feeling? Has anyone got another topic we can change to? Because I'm getting a bit sick of that. I've been talking about it all day and all week, it feels like. Otherwise, I might sign off. You take care, Aid. Good to see you. Good to see everyone, really. It's good to catch up. Good to see you're working on projects and not just watching TV. I've been watching Sailing Uma. There you go. Which is a YouTube channel. Sailing UMA. Which is a adventure sailing lifestyle vlog. Really enjoying that. The other crazy one I've been watching is Bald and Bankrupt. You can hate him or like him, but he does have some pretty cool content if you've got some time to feel. So there are creators out there that make cool stuff that's not workshop related, and I do watch it. So thanks, Dale. That's really nice of you. Really nice of you. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. That's crazy. But thanks, Dale. What other things am I working on? Goodness gracious, a coat hanger, of which we can't show anyone. So the coat hanger is off limits, but we are working on a coat hanger, and it does involve an aeroplane and a belt drive as well as some other stuff. Yeah, so we can't talk about that. What else? I'm waiting for inserts. I've got a set that Tinker sent, which are awesome, but they don't have chip breakers on them and no rake or anything, and I'm really not getting on particularly well with them at some point. I'm waiting on these, which is CCMT 6x2mm. They're the ones that I need. They've left China, and they might be here by the end of the week, I hope, or they might not. It might be another week, but it'll give me an excuse to make some other bits. So Dale's too much of a man, JB, for me to even imagine what that would be like, but just, yeah, go with it. See him in a cowboy hat and it's all over Red Rover. What else? Mill hold downs. Update on the mill hold downs. I did run them through the tumble machine when I did these bits. So these look really amazing. There we go. My friend who's got the bluing set up is in another suburb, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to see him in the next 2 months, but I'll get some of these projects finished. We'll see how we go with that. There's hold downs to be made. I've got problems with milling machine arbors. It's in the milling machine, so I can't show you. But the 1-inch arbor needs some work. It's a Morse Taper 2 arbor with 1 inch, and I'd like to rebuild that, or to get a Chinese one and modify it or something like that. That's on the cards of things that I need to do as well. Wow, up north, Dale, I haven't seen you for a bit, and you've got a video out today and I haven't watched it yet. I'm sorry about that. There's also one from Tom Lipton, but that's an hour, and tonight I'm going to fall asleep if I watch that. So that's not going to happen tonight, unfortunately. But yours might. The impressive part of this whole statement from Dale, and I don't know if you realise this, is that when he casually says that we have been travelling a lot this year, right now watching from my 4x4 van in Washington State, what this means is that Dale has completed rebuilding the 4x4 van and he has it on the road and he's actually travelling with it. So a huge round of applause for Dale, because that's awesome. That really is. Last time I saw it, I believe probably the motor was in the workshop, if it's the same 4x4 van. So very impressed. I think Dale probably doesn't leave. Yeah, he doesn't believe in trailers. He just loads stuff on the back of the truck. But he's a nice guy, and jokes aside, we love him. And I can't wait to have a look at his video, actually. I saw it pop up today. Keep him coming. Keep him coming, Dale. Paddy's reading a new bio on Stalin. Rock rails for the van. How cool is that? I'd like to see more of the van. It sounds like an awesome project. Vegas last week, Washington this week. That's a lot of traveling. That's a lot of miles. Anyway, with that, you're all quieting down. I'm going to call this. It's very awesome to catch up with you all. I've said that already. Be kind to each other, especially Magna owners and people who own 4x4 vans. And don't hound me about the coat hanger project, or it'll never get finished. Just a little reminder that there is a coat hanger project that you know nothing about, which is really cool. And more soon. I hope you can get back home. I hadn't thought of that. Take care, Dale. Thanks again, and thanks everyone for watching and joining in and being such great sports, and we'll see you next week. I'm out.